Hi, and welcome back to Broadsheet Sydney Around Town. If it's your first time here, don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a video. I'm Emma Joyce, Broadsheet's features editor, and I'm the host of this short guide to Sydney. Let's get into it. Hi, Alessandro. Thanks for joining us on Broadsheet Sydney Around Town. We have invited you in because you have a fantastic backstory. You've been in Sydney for about 20 years. I think that's accurate. And before that, you've worked in Michelin Starred restaurants in Italy and France as well. And you own 3 very successful restaurants in Sydney: Amare, Omeggio at Spit, and
Chiosco.
Yeah. Very different styles of Italian cuisines.
Correct.
Before we get to your style of cooking, I'd love to kind of go back to Italy and talk about how you first got interested in cooking or in entertaining and hospitality.
Yeah. So when we were young kids, every Sunday my nonna used to start cooking very early in the morning, like 6 a.m. and make challenging and amazing meals for the whole family. And then all the uncle, aunties, and all the kids will come together and eat together as 12, 15 people as a family. And she was able to give a moment of emotion to all of us. And I felt that I wanted to be able to do that one day in my life, to be able to give emotion to people through food, through cuisine.
Is there a dish that you think of when you think of her?
The thing that I loved the most was the hen, filled stuffed hen. So the hen, the chicken wife.
Absolutely.
The old one.
Sounds like a complicated thing to do at home.
Yes, because she used to buy the animal alive when she couldn't grow it from friends or from the market. And she used to kill it at home. And she wasn't embarrassed about it. So I wanted to, and that was my favorite dish. At the point that sometimes she cooked one hen for me, one hen for the rest of the family.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
So it's the big hen with the filling and everything.
And you had the appetite for it.
My God, I was eating a lot. So I wanted to learn how to make that dish. And she started with the killing part. And I was a kid. So it wasn't cruel. It was something normal back then. And I'm glad that I learned from A to Z. And I thought to myself, I need to learn everything like that. So
and then,
from the beginning to the end.
When did you decide that was going to be a career for you?
Probably at that time of my life, I decided, and I used to tell my mother and father after primary school, I want to go to hotel school. We call it alberghiera. And so I signed up at 15 years old to go to the school, and I started working simultaneously, basically. In the weekends, I used to work. During the week, I used to go to school. Summer holiday, I used to work in restaurants.
What do you enjoy most about working within fine dining? Because I know that a lot of your experience and your skills and techniques were developed within a more fine dining environment.
Yeah, look, in the beginning, I wanted to learn from the best. And we were lucky to live on the shore of the Lake Garda because a lot of Michelin restaurants are actually there. I wanted to learn from the best from the beginning. And so I tried to go to the best restaurant. And my teachers at school had connection, and they started to send me to the right places from there. And I just grew up doing cooking that type of dining from the very beginning.
It was only maybe 4 years or so once you moved to Australia and start working at the Park Hyatt when you opened Omeggio.
So I went to the Park Hyatt. I was executive chef there for 5 years, I think. My friend Giovanni Pilo called me and said, look, this is this restaurant on the Spit. He used to have a restaurant there. And I went to have a look. But I already had a contract with the Hyatt to go in Hong Kong. And I already signed for the Grand Hyatt.
You were committed.
Then I saw this restaurant. I mean, when I went to the restaurant on the Spit, it reminded me of the lakes. And I thought, Then the restaurant was pretty bad. It was an old restaurant closed. But I had a dream. I had everything clicked from there. So I quit and I opened a restaurant.
And what you opened, obviously, is such a beautiful kind of a way of representing Italian cooking on Sydney Harbour. So as you said, it feels like you're on the lake because you are at that stage of Middle Harbour.
Correct.
Where you've got the boats
there's
just
the hills,
floating. Yeah, beautiful hills. Exactly. And it's a place where you can go and have a long lunch, a beautiful long lunch, not feel connected like you're in the city.
Not at all. I feel like on the shore of the Lake Garda, I feel like on the Mediterranean, I feel like, you have the water underneath you, the boats are there. There's beautiful feel and energy. I love it.
Now, you've had a number of hats. It's a hatted restaurant for many, many years. Yeah. And what would you say of the biggest changes and what has stayed the same with Ormeggio at the Spit?
Nothing stayed the same. We changed the concept, I think, 3 times major. The last one we changed just after COVID. Through COVID, I had the previous concept was like degustation dining. It was more like small courses in a row. And I was a bit tired of that. And I felt like the public was tired, the customer. So it was hard because we had kiosk already. So I didn't know, what level of dining. Do I go below and do pizza? Where I go? So then we decided to still do fine dining, but a lot more relaxed, more like in the southern Italy, have more sharing dishes, more relaxed concept, but still technical dishes. And the main thing was, instead to make dessert, we wanted to make gelatos only. So the gelato is the hero of the dessert. We make gelato on Murano glasses, like an ice cream sundae type of
perfect style for that location as well.
Because I always used to go out to a restaurant in the city, and instead to have dessert, used to go to somewhere to have gelato after. So I thought, be good to have gelato right here. So we did the gelato bar, which is still the current concept, and seafood only.
And seafood only.
So we took meat out. Obviously, we are at the speed. It feels right.
It does,
to right?
To have
vegetable and seafood, and it's more sustainable. We work with the supplier very closely.
Taking Ormeggio to seafood and vegetables is partly connected by your personal diet, isn't it? Because you've experienced quite a lot of health concerns over your life, including 2 heart attacks, and you've also had cancer on your spine. You had a tumor when you were younger. Mm-hmm. I believe they're all connected a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about how you shifted your diet?
The diet, more than the cancer and the heart attack, come from the rheumatoid arthritis, which I have also.
Okay.
And because I'm taking all these medications, then they found that I had rheumatoid arthritis, seronegative arthritis. And they wanted to give me more medications. So I thought there must be another way, a little bit more natural. So I studied a little bit with how, to intervene with what you eat. Right? I follow a few concepts. I was vegan for maybe a year. Didn't work because I used to eat a lot of pizza and pasta anyway. And even if with not much protein, it didn't work out for me. So between trials and error, I find my way for myself to don't get inflamed anymore. I don't get inflamed at all anymore. And I'm basing my diet now in mostly vegetables and protein, and but also meats. Yeah. So I went back and forward, testing myself. I get more inflamed, I get less inflamed, and I found my way. But then make me more conscious about how our diet is important for all of us, how important it is.
And that's why you've kind of ensured that the menus that you're able to put together for your restaurants have a balance, a more balanced menu, let's say.
More sustainable, healthy. I believe sustainability is very important as well.
I love that Amare which is at the Crown in Barangaroo, you're really bringing sort of the finishing of the food or a sense of kind of theatre, I guess.
Tableside service,
especially with the pesto. I know that some people have really enjoyed just the scent of basil and pine nuts being crushed by the waitstaff.
And listen, when you have someone that make you pesto tableside, and you can smell Italy right there. And then they finish your pasta right there. The pesto doesn't oxidize. The smell of the nuts and the basil is all around you. You're already eating with your eye. The theater there, the entertainment is there. And then when you have it, you can have it twice a day, every day. So beautiful. But I wanted to bring more theater to the dining scenes. And I feel like everybody's doing a lot more of that these days. And it's very good for the front of house skills. So we need to grow the skills of the front of house people around Sydney in Australia to make them better and to make sure that they understand that there is a career behind the front of house. I used to go out on the Lake Garda with my family when I was a teenager on those fantastic restaurants in the Belle Epoque villas on the shores of the Lake Garda. And it was paramount there to have tableside service. And the experience I remember I had by watching, I don't even remember what I ate, but I remember the theater of it. So I thought that including them in a dining experience was a very important thing to do.
And it's a more fine dining experience than your other two venues as well.
Correct. Look, the food is traditional, but the experience, the fine dining experience comes from the service side. Yeah, most definitely.
What is it about hospitality that you just love and you would never want to give up?
Definitely give emotion to people like my grandmother used to do. That's why I did it, and that's why I'm still doing it, because we're able to give emotion, we're able to give experience, we're able to make people happy, to make them smile, to change their day from maybe a bad day to a good day. I think that's power.
And what's next for you? Are you working on anything that you'd like to share with us?
Many projects on the back burner, but I can't share.
You can't share? You're going to keep that one to yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure.
And that's all we have time for today. As always, you can keep up to date with what's happening around Sydney at broadsheet.com.au and on Instagram at broadsheet_Sid. I'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Chat then.